Happy New Year, Artslandia. We are at the Winningstad Theater where we just saw Noble Failure at Third Rail Repertory. Let's check it out and let's talk to some people and see what they thought of the show.
Well, I am a public school teacher in a very low-income elementary school in East Portland. And so unfortunately, many of the points in the play were very true to life to what we experience.
I thought it was a pretty effective portrayal of what's happening in the public school system. For someone who's been out of that system for over a decade, it was kind of eye-opening.
So tell us about some of the moments in the play that really sort of hit home for you.
The moment where the lawyer walks into the library and starts to gather evidence from the volunteer librarian, that's a big change from how it seems like things were done.
I mean, it seems like when we went, I mean, I'm older than you, but when we were in public school, it doesn't seem like it was that way.
Right. It's instead of education, it's the purview of lawyers and policy, and it seems that they're missing the point.
Well, I was very impressed by the characterization of the nobly failing teachers and the characterization of the inevitable forces that force them into apparent failure. Obviously a brilliant teacher, obviously extremely good at what she does, and yet the measures say she fails, and it's unfortunately a real message.
There's the old saying, it's funny because it's true, and in some ways it's funny because it's true, and in other ways it's not funny
because it's true.
This lady is the lady of the night, Susan Mock, who is the playwright of A Noble Failure.
Yes, I wrote A Noble Failure.
And you admit it.
That's right. What else can I say?
I wrote it. So this was a great, incredible glimpse behind the curtain for me. Because, as you know, I have public school children.
Yes.
And there's a lot about it that I didn't know, that I felt like I kind of learned tonight. Now, you're not just a playwright, you're also an educator.
And a parent.
And a parent of a child in public school.
Yeah.
So, how did you not write this and not get so incredibly angry and start throwing things?
Well, I did get angry. I mean, that's what compelled me to write it, was just sort of when I read the book that I read that sort of opened my eyes was Diane Ravitch's The Death and Life of the Great American Education System, and everybody should, something like that, but everybody should read that book.
Yeah.
And it's all about the whole privatization, and I teach in a community college, and my husband teaches in a public school, so we see the sort of the continual defunding of public education and the funding of all this sort of testing and consulting and coaching, and it has really really people say it's the civil rights movement of our time, but it's really something designed to make certain kinds of people a lot of money.
I had students last year who had to listen to a passage and answer questions about it. And to be honest, I wasn't sure what the correct answers were. Honestly, I thought the story was open to more than one interpretation. And yet these 9-year-olds had to figure out an answer. And if they got it wrong, quote unquote, wrong, then that was going to mean that my name was going to be published in the newspaper to say that I'm a bad teacher. It might mean that their school might be closed. It might mean that they might not go on to the next grade. And what message are we sending about what learning is and what it means to be a growing, learning, developing human being? It means that when you look at a piece of literature, there is a right answer, and the test maker knows what it is, and your job is to try to figure out what they think the right answer is. Or an alternative view might be that your job as a learner is to interact with that text, think about everything that you're bringing to it, notice what you see and perceive in the text, and be able to say something intelligent about it that you can support and defend from what you see in front of you, and also be open to other interpretations and listen and discuss. I mean, honestly, that passage and some of those passages, we had such debates about these passages. And we, as educators, we were like, well, I think it was this, I think it was that. And then we kind of looked at each other and said, it's too bad we can't have this conversation with the kids.
Right.
It's too bad that we can't have that kind of rich discussion and teach them that that's what literature is about. That's what this play actually really captured, was the idea that there's something immeasurable that is very important. And when we give such importance to things that can only be measured, we are doing a kind of violence to the teaching and learning process.